Welcome back to The Narrative. I'm your storyteller, Callistra Farrier. A lot happening in Grenada. The government of Grenada, led by Deacon Mitchell, taking some major decisions over the last few weeks. One of them related to the Kimpton Kawana Bay Citizenship by Investment Development. The government announcing that they have reached a settlement with the investors. That investment was being led by True Blue Bay Developers, which was the CBI passport selling arm of the project, and led by former Ambassador Warren Newfield. That matter went to arbitration after the last administration moved to suspend the project's ability to sell passports and to continue to raise investments, really, is what they would prefer to say. And that matter went to arbitration, and they were suing the Grenada government for several $1 million. The government changed, and now the new administration says they have settled. And the details of the settlement are not quite clear, but of course it's a very big deal, and so we will discuss that with the guest that I have coming on now, as well as just general matters of how the governance of the country is going. Michael Baptiste joins me now. We're also going to ask him about the NNP. Welcome to the program, Mr. Baptiste.
A pleasant morning to everyone. It's been a while. I'm happy to be here.
It's been a while, and since you gave us this long holiday, we've been hearing all manner of things, including where your next political home is going to be. But we'll get into that later on. But first, it's been what? June made it 12 months, July, August. It's been 14 and a half months since this new administration has been in power. We were hearing in the early days a lot. They're a new government, they just got here. Give them some time. 14 months in, are you comfortable with where we are in terms of the performance of this new administration? Or do you think they need more time, or have they used the time well?
Well, I'm hearing this as an excuse for some of the economic inactivities that's not taking place in the country. The question of time, when you offer yourself for elections and you're successful, you're given time. You're given 5 years, and they have to take that into consideration. 14 months is a long time. I remember the first NNP government, or under Dr. Mitchell in '95, they did so much within the first year that when the government collapsed, when Dr. Fletcher brought down the government, the people of Grenada overwhelmingly gave the NNP the first 15 nothing, because of course they saw a lot of activities taking place in the country. So I'm not sure that this time is going to fly. The government came in, they offered a lot, and of whom much is given, much is expected. They gave them the chance, and they had to use the chance. 14 months is a very long time. I could understand your first 6 months grace, that's your honeymoon period, 6 months to maybe 6 to 9 months, but 14 months is a very long time. I have not seen the government outline any new economic plans. As a matter of fact, it's very frustrating. I have not heard of the three main pillars of the economy. The new National Party, the artificial economy was dismantled, and this government came in, and things have gotten worse. I don't think they recognize that we are coming from those are post-COVID periods, and our economy had gotten to a halt during COVID, and they came in now, and it's time to stimulate the economy. If you go around the country, you would hear the cries from all over, and I think they have to pay attention to the cry coming from the ground, from the cries of the little man. Most of their policies, most of the things they have done so far have not hit the ground. Like, for example, they came in and they gave a tax break with investors, and coming with the containers, but that did not trickle down. When you go into the supermarket and you look at the prices that the little man have to absorb, I mean, it's a lot. Inflation. We have a global recession. Inflation is taking hold of Grenada, and I don't think the government is doing a lot to deal with with inflation. They started off with a program which was a total failure, that a labor subsidy program in agriculture. That was a waste of taxpayers' money. Spend millions of dollars clearing people lands with no serious plans for replanting. Within 2 weeks, rainfall and the grass grow back again. So that was throwing money away. That money could have been better spent and better utilized to resurrect the rural economy.
Throwing good money after bad, as the old people would say.
Exactly. So they continue with the same failed policy that the former ministers of agriculture in the NNP administration did. And it's a good program because, incidentally, I initiated that program in agriculture, the a labor subsidy program where we were paying farmers to work their own lands, but it has become so politicized where they turn it into a constituency thing now, where they finding work for the supporters.
Even now, even now under the new administration, because I had not realized that they had a farm labor program in the last
It
14
has
months.
gotten even worse under this administration, where they're looking at it from a constituency level. They're selecting people from constituencies and sending to clear people's land. That's a waste of time, and I'm so disappointed with the Minister of Agriculture, because he was in agriculture. He saw what happened. He saw how that program was used to resurrect the banana industry after the country was infested with with millibug. That while the NDC was in power, the NNP came in and, of course, went to work and eliminated the millibug and resurrected the banana industry with such a program and very little money. I can tell you because I headed that program. It was $500,000, and we were able to go into Windsor, Chantilly, Clogier, Belvedere, and within 9 months, I had the trucks rolling out of Belvedere, and with Grenada started shipping first class bananas again.
So why do you think that the farm labor program has not worked even now under a new administration? What do we need to do to make it work? What do we need to plan?
I'll tell you what we need to do. First of all, we must have a serious plan. We must know exactly why are we going to clear somebody's lands. You just can't go and clear people's lands and then allow the grass to grow back. When I initiated that program, I initiated with the banana farmers. First, we identify farmers, serious farmers, and then we set out now to assist them. We clear the lands, we dig holes, we assist them with planting materials, inputs, and other stuff, and we stayed with them from planting to finish. So we knew exactly what is it we had in the ground, what we're doing, and what the plans are. But they have no plans. If it's just creating employment, then for heaven's sake, put them on the road. But don't throw money sending people to work farmers' lands, and you have no plans at all. There's no planting material. There's no serious plan at all as to how you're resurrecting agriculture. So why just
shouldn't the farmers play a role after the government comes and clears your land? I know with the banana resuscitation was a specialized kind of focused program. We had a lot of outside support, and there was a focus. There was a plan. I know that because I covered that. But in this case here, shouldn't the farmers, the government sends people to clear your land? That's a cost that you don't have to withstand. You're a farmer and you're planting anyhow. Why let the bush grow back? Plant.
No, the first thing we need to do is to coordinate with the farmer. We have to understand that we must know exactly what it is the farmer is going to plant, what he's involved with, and we give him the necessary support to accomplish that feat. We allow the farmer to participate. The farmer may have workers. Even the farmer himself, under the banana program, the farmer himself was a worker. Whether it was a family member, whether it was people that he recruit, we allow him to recruit, and we gave him, we allow him to take ownership of the process. And I say ownership because when the farmer is involved, he would ensure that you get value for money. It's not just picking up people in the constituencies and sending them to work on farmers' land. You're cutting the grass and you just cut the grass and you allow it to go back. The farmer himself must involve, and the ministry must involve. You must know what is it you're trying to accomplish. Are you providing employment for your supporters, or are you seriously trying to resuscitate bananas? If you're going to plant corn, then you must The farmer must have the planting materials, and you must stay with him through the extension division to ensure that the monies that you're giving him, it's well used for the purpose of which is intended.
Well, I know places like Dominica and St. Vincent, they have very strong agriculture programs and agriculture resuscitation programs going on there. In Grenada, it's kind of hard to know what they're doing because the permanent secretary and the minister and the senior people in the Ministry of Agriculture are not available for comment to let us know what's going on. So, hopefully we may be able to find out something, but I can tell you what's going on in agriculture in most of the other islands, which is kind of
Well,
weird.
let me say this. I was of the opinion that this new government, most of them was sitting on the sidelines and watching what was going on during COVID. They saw the struggle, the need to resuscitate our banana industry, so that, not just banana, our agriculture sector, so that should in the event that we face another COVID, we would not have to go through the difficulties. And when we look at the food import bill, one would thought that one of the first major actions of this government is to reduce on the food import bill, whether it is through poultry, whether it is other agricultural, whether it's fishing, whether it's poultry, whether it's livestock, whether it's the resuscitation of the banana industry. We need to get serious and look at agriculture as a state, as a case of emergency. We cannot wait for another COVID to hit Grenada, and then we depended on St. Vincent to send us food and going through all of that. And one of the ways that we cut down on the cost of living, based on what we're seeing today with this global recession that's and inflation that's plaguing the world, one of the best way to deal with that is to grow locally. Start growing what we need. When you look at the shelves in the market, we see cabbage coming out of Canada, 12 and $13 a pound. We see beets and carrots and all of that coming into the country, and people are buying it. So then we do have
Lettuce, romaine lettuce at $30 a bag, almost $30 a
right.
bag.
So we do have a ready market for agriculture. What we need is to get serious. The Ministry of Agriculture, the Minister of Agriculture must get serious and be more aggressive in working with farmers to produce what we need. How in heaven's name do we justify cabbage coming out of Canada? There are Grenadians living in Canada, and they are having difficulties getting a direct flight from Canada to Grenada. But could you imagine agricultural products have
The, the,
no
the,
problems from Canada reaching Grenada so easily?
that's
So
funny.
we need to get serious. And one of
No,
the ways to eradicate poverty, one of the ways to even encourage people to eat healthy, not by raising the price of sugar and all of that. One of the ways of teaching people to eat healthy is to grow what we eat
grow what you have.
and eat what we grow.
No,
And
no.
we
Earlier, let me ask you this. So earlier, you in the interview, you talked about that they dismantled the artificial economy that was under the last administration, but have done nothing. Explain what you mean by that, and go further to tell me, apart from agriculture, what are the building blocks that you would like to see that would make you confident that the government is trying to stimulate the economy?
Well, when I speak of the artificial economy, Dr. Mitchell and his new national party, they specialize in creating dead end jobs for people. While it may sound dead end, but government on the whole must provide employment at the last resort for its citizens. And while the NNP was in power, a lot of jobs was created for ordinary people, and that's circulated money in the economy. They were dead end jobs, but at least they put a little food on the table. Now that's gone. As a result of that, we're feeling it on the ground. The money is not circulating in the hands of ordinary people. We just had a carnival, and yes, there were a lot of visitors, but the spending power just was not there because the money is not circulating. The money is not reaching the ground. Look, the government spent $75 million, yes, and they paid the much needed bonuses. And the prevailing thought there, wisdom there was that the money will trickle down. It did not trickle down. It didn't trickle down at all. Most of the people kept their monies in the bank. And so we did that was not felt on the ground. The government again.
According to the IMF, and of course they get their data from the Ministry of Finance and local sources, but according to the IMF and the Ministry of Finance, the economic growth that we saw following the pension, because the growth numbers were fairly decent. They're attributing that to the payment. The numbers, and that's why I said the numbers, because you are correct in saying that the sentiment of the public is that it's not trickling down. The ordinary man is complaining and complaining loudly. I hear them. But the numbers on paper, the IMF is saying that it trickled down. That the economic growth that it was very decent numbers, actually. I did question over and over with the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance if that was correct, and they're saying it has that it's contributed to economic growth.
Is it in manufacturing? Is it in agriculture? Where was the growth? I mean, most of the people who got the pension are retirees. They put the money in the bank, they stash it away, and I don't know if I seen maybe the banks probably have more liquid funds at their disposal. But as far as on the ground, even the paying twice a month, I think it's a good thing. But unfortunately, what we see now, instead of people being broke once a month, they're now broke twice a month. So right. So as again I said, it has not yet reached the ground, and the government have to be mindful, because the bulk of the voters are people on the ground. People are feeling it, and as we speak now, there's a loud cry of hardship on the ground on the ground in the minds of ordinary people. So I think that is something that needs to be addressed. I think the situation at the hospital, it has not improved any. The cost of medication is still too high. The wait at the hospital is very long. Services have not improved any at all since my daughter died there. So I have not really seen much difference between what was happening and what is happening now. I have not seen it.
This is the narrative I'm on with Michael Baptiste. We're discussing the performance of the Deacon Mitchell-led administration in St. George's. More when we come back.